Alright, so this one is on my emails and my YouTube. Alright, so 3 days ago, I was sent an email from YouTube saying that some of my videos would be age restricted. In specific, one on Katie Cahill the liar, and one on Katie Cahill the stupid, and one on Alicia Bollinger the liar. That's the thing, is that this slander isn't a civil case. It's a criminal case. These people committed criminal acts. Now, the funny thing is that those messages just showed up about 10 minutes ago. They were sent 3 days ago. Why did they just show up 10 minutes ago? Also, they say that I have 48 hours to change stuff on it. So I literally did not get the emails until over 24 hours after that 48 hours was over. They reviewed it and they age restricted one video. There were actually, as far as I can tell, at least 8 videos that they tried to do that with. Sorry, bud, it's evidence. And that's the thing. All of these people, the slander by Alicia Bollinger, in specific, it resulted in a great many people with mob mentality. And that mob mentality resulted in people being injured and threatened. So I spoke out. Now, I had been targeted by the Boulder police prior, many times prior. The reason for this is because the things that they did to me in 2017 and 2016 and 2018 as well. Well, they'd been doing that to a lot of people for a lot of years, and I spoke out about it. The things that the Boulder police have been doing for the entirety of my life, or the entirety of me knowing that they exist, I should say. They've broken the law in order to harm homeless people and prevent homeless people from reporting on them about that harm. Nobody really paid much attention, except some of the homeless folks. But I still spoke out. And when Natalie died, they were pretty well invested in making sure that nobody listened to me. Making sure that they framed me for crimes I did not commit in order to make their sins okay. They tried to alleviate and make okay over 10 years of reporting against those officers in specific. The Boulder officers in specific. I had been speaking out about their protocol, which were used improperly to illegally imprison people who had not committed any crime except existing. Officer Waylon Lolatai assaulted me 3 times within just a couple of minutes. He lifted me up off the floor by my wrist. He twisted my wrists so they were wedged sideways in the cuffs. And then he tried to wrench my leg off in a leg hold, and I wasn't fighting back. They asked me to roll this way, I'd roll this way. They asked me to roll that way, I'd roll that way. And then they put a bag over my head and claimed I tried to bite them. With what? You see even one goddamn tooth in there to try to bite them with? These officers lied repeatedly, including claiming that I had attempted to assault them with a deadly weapon. and that I had tried to bite them. They assaulted me and pretended like I assaulted them to make what they were doing okay. Now, why is it that I am continually breaking the law? Because I have to fucking defend myself. I will have to deal with assholes for the rest of my life, treating me like shit over things I did not fucking do. I will have to deal with judges and lawyers and police and the public breaking the law because of the slander against me. And you want to be pissed off. With all due respect, you have no right to be pissed off. Jennifer Farina Bollinger, you have no right to be pissed off. Katie Cahill, you have no right to be pissed off. Tabitha Michelle Cook, yeah, a little bit, but not much. I have more right to be pissed off than you do. The Bollingers all belong in prison. Now, see, here's the thing. It doesn't matter how many times they threaten my life. It doesn't. Nobody fucking cares if they threaten my life because of the slander against me. These people went out of their way to paint me as a terrible excuse for a human being. You want to be pissed off at me? No, you get pissed off at the fucking police, bitch. You do not get to shame me for defending myself, my friends, and my family. These people have been doing so almost since I left Virginia. Tim Beeson threatened my life well before Natalie was ever dead. He slandered my name well before Natalie was ever dead. You goddamn right I'm going to speak out. I tried to go to so many people who claimed that they wanted to help. People like Derek Parrish and Joanna Taylor, who talked over me nonstop. Worse than Shannon Alvarado? Yeah. There's two of them. Fact is, Natalie, either A, she set these people to it, or B, these people were doing immoral shit and accused me of shit that I didn't do over rumors. Which is it? Well, here's the thing. Not one person has produced any document at any point in time that shows that Natalie ever accused me of rape or ever accused me of child molestation. But these web groups have been slandering my name and kicking anybody out who's not willing to slander my name and isn't willing to only look at stuff that they can twist. If you look at it completely out of context, you get all sorts of shit. Like when Natalie said that I couldn't go to her house. First of all, that was after I was already in Virginia. And second of all, she also cited her reasoning, and that was her mother's opinion. However, after that, her and Alicia repeatedly invited me to go places and do things. Does that sound like something you're going to do with a stalker, you fucking idiots? Obviously, the police are well entrenched in making sure that the truth doesn't come out. Why? Why are the Bollingers so adamant about destroying my voice? Why is it that thousands of people have taken part in trying to destroy my Facebook? Hundreds of people have taken part in trying to destroy my Facebook and evidence on my Facebook. Well, that's over the slander by the Bollingers, but it's also slander by the courts and slander by the police. That judge in Natalie's case did things that were not just illegal, they are criminally illegal. The Bollingers were they intelligent people, would be trying to fight the system and all the fucked up shit that they did. But they're busy playing victim. I need the Bollingers' help in order to go after the police, and I need the police help to go after the Bollingers. Meanwhile, both sets of groups did wrong. Both sets of groups are heavily invested in slandering and also libel against my name. The same thing with the media. And you want to tell me, Sean, just let it go. Just let it go. They're not letting it go. They have not let it go. That slander continues. And you're damn right, I am going to continue to speak out because my constitutional rights were violated. I was illegally imprisoned on multiple occasions for trying to make a fucking police report. I was assaulted on multiple occasions for trying to make a police report. I was forced to break the law to defend myself and to try to make a police report. In the hospital in Louisville, I was trying to make a police report. They assaulted me and drugged me for it. At Clearview, I was trying to make a police report. They assaulted me and drugged me for it. And then framed me for assault, same as the border police. In Chapel, Nebraska, the police did the same thing. They kept on transferring me out of jurisdiction so that I could not make a report against these officers. And drugged me, and lied to me, and threatened me, and intimidated me. And yes, those people in the hospital did threaten and intimidate me, and assault me, including the officer who came to take the report. See, they kept on telling me that I couldn't have somebody sit in there with me to make sure that the police didn't try to entrap me. Yet they allowed all of those hospital staff, including the ones that had assaulted me, to sit around, all the way around me, just like they did later on in the Longmont Hospital when I was assaulted by another officer who never should have been involved. In addition, Amanda Jonas took part in the events that took place on the day that I was taken to the hospital. She outright slandered my name. She slandered my friends' names. She lied repeatedly on court documents and on a police report. But nobody's going to do a goddamn thing about it. I spilled the beans. I told them everything that I had done wrong. I even threatened the President of the United States, and not only did I threaten him, but I made sure to make that post private so that it couldn't be destroyed, so that I could show what it is that I did and why. They did everything in their power to prevent me from being able to communicate with people. They did everything that they could to fan the flames of the mob mentality. The police did this. The media did this. Multiple witnesses have attempted to come forward and the police will not take it. Between looking at the truth and arresting these people for their harm and their slander resulting in death, and multiple assaults against a disabled American, between doing their jobs and framing an innocent man, they chose to frame an innocent man. The media doesn't care. They slandered me too. I can't get an attorney because I don't have any money. Where do you draw the line? I'm 38 years old. I've gone through an entire life of hearing about how great America is, while being victimized in ways that are supposed to be illegal, are supposed to be against my constitutional rights. Then again, I don't have any constitutional rights. I'm not a human being. Your society treats me like an animal. It pokes me with a stick and pokes me with a stick and then complains when I speak out. Between taking a police report and assaulting me, they chose to assault me repeatedly. I called Internal Affairs. I even recorded it in Boulder. Or maybe, no, it was the Boulder one. And they were dealing with the Zaid Atkinson thing. Now you see the difference between people making excuses not to come forward and people actually coming forward in a group. Miss Peaches keeps saying that it won't work. Well, here's the thing. If you have two people and you're recording it, if the police try to entrap you or they refuse to take a police report, then you have it documented. Alyssa and her mother claimed, well, recently they had made another attempt that they never told me about, so I think it's bullshit, but we'll see. They made another attempt to try to get the police to take a look. And that was back in April, apparently. And they claimed that they didn't remember the names of the officers. Well, that makes sense, somewhat. Me, I'd written down the names of the officers, and I did. There's a lot of the names of the officers I do not have access to because it was stolen. But when you're talking about hundreds of instances, every one of them needing to be investigated, well, that's the thing. Is that Sammy Leon Lawrence IV had to deal with one instance. Zaid Atkinson had to deal with one instance. And they're traumatized and afraid to be in Boulder. They're bitches. Zaid Atkinson is a fucking bitch. Straight up. Same thing with Sammy Leon Lawrence IV. However, you guys are even bigger bitches. Do you know why? Because Zaid Atkinson and Sammy Leon Lawrence IV were standing up for their rights as human beings. For our rights as human beings. Therefore, these two bitches are heroes in my book. Sammy Leon Lawrence IV, he wants me to give him special treatment because of his brain injuries. Meanwhile, he wanted to be a dick about my injuries. Pot calling the kettle black, ain't it? Here's the thing. The Bollingers should have thought about the fact that I could possibly be released and speak out against them. And that is how I retaliate. Well, there's all sorts of people who don't want me to be able to speak. They've done everything in their power to try to prevent me from being able to utilize my Facebook to speak out, or YouTube to speak out. And you know what? Those are still the only two outlets that I have. They prevented me from speaking out against the judge. They prevented me from being able to speak out, or prevented me from being able to file charges against the judge in the wrongful death of Natalie Bollinger. It is wrongful death. He put her at risk by putting that address on there and allowing that. That magistrate is criminally negligent. And that magistrate got to lie outright on court documents as well, claiming that I had made no attempt to make it to court. Really? Maybe you should pay attention to the shit that they put me through and the illegal things that they did to prevent me from going to court. I literally broke the law to try to get that fucking court date. Meanwhile, the people who were playing head games and slandering my name and playing both Miss Shelley and me, namely Kara Johnson, aka Kara Miles, this woman's slander, see, she got busted lying. Shannon Alvarado busted this woman lying. Straight up. This woman was pretending like she was going to help me. She didn't. For months and months, she just wasted my time, just like Katie Cahill. Shannon Alvarado showed me what this woman was up to. And that right there is what put the great divide between myself and Miss Shelley. The shit that woman put me through, not just Shelley, Kara Miles, isn't just immoral, it's against the law. Imagine how pissed off I was when that woman slandered my name, and her slander on court documents prevented me from having an honest day in court. Her slander in specific. She claimed that me and Natalie, first of all, she claimed that she was Natalie's mother's best friend. She doesn't know Natalie's mother. She's never met Natalie's mother. She's Natalie's ex-stepmother's hanger-on from these groups. These people who are only allowed in these groups if they hate me, and this woman is curator of several of them. She also did some pretty shady shit to Katie Cahill. But Katie Cahill didn't press charges. She should have. Is it illegal for me to record these phone calls? No, it's not. In many cases it should be, and it would be. But in this particular case, because of the things that happened and because of who was involved, it's not illegal for me to record it. Imagine that. Hundreds of inmates are witnesses to the threats and harassment and intimidation and assault by the officers in the Arapahoe County Jail, as well as the Boulder County Jail. But their words were not allowed in court. Also, in Larimer County, there's an officer by the name of Robinson. I was assaulted there as well. That officer Robinson and another officer were supposed to come talk to me to take my report about the assault by the officers there, as well as the theft of evidence. At no point in time did they actually do that. Instead, Officer Robin showed up and put me on some sort of administrative you're in trouble for speaking out bullshit. You don't like how I act? I tried being nice. Being nice got nothing done. I got lots of text messages. And a lot of them show people when I'm being nice, they're making lots of promises, but they're not following through. When I'm an asshole, that's when they fucking do something now, isn't it? Now these people don't have time, can't lift a goddamn finger, can't come forward, can't tell the truth. But then when they feel insulted and want to get butthurt over just a tiny smidgen of the shit that I've been through, Oh yeah, they got all sorts of time now, don't they? You cute, Katie. I don't mean like physically. I mean, that's just adorable. All of these people have showed that the rules are different for them than they are for me. All of them. The things that I said have been proven time and again. The Bollingers are allowed to threaten me. They're allowed to assault me. They're allowed to send people after me. They're allowed to slander my name. And that slander is what resulted in Natalie dying, but not just the slander, but police refusing to do their job. When an at-risk adult says, hey, people are threatening me and assaulting me over shit that I didn't do, I need your help, is an officer supposed to do something? If the officers had done their job in Chapel, Nebraska, or Boulder, Colorado, or Broomfield, Natalie could still be alive today. Ooh, a bee. Get out of here, bud. Their negligence killed Natalie. And it happened across state borders. It happened across multiple jurisdictions. They coordinated with the Bollingers in multiple jurisdictions to commit felonies to try to frame me, including Officer Michael Beard of Haxton, Colorado, Officer Burke, formerly of Broomfield, now of Longmont. I have proof that Officer Burke has been harassing people. People have been attempting to get protection orders against Officer Burke. Other victims. Same thing with Officer Lolatai. Because I was prevented from going to court, even though there are multiple people who were assaulted. They won't look at what happened to me or include what happened to me because of the slander and the hatred against me. They're afraid of public opinion, just as I said. That public opinion was created by lies and slander by the Boulder Police Department, the Broomfield Police Department, the Adams County detectives, the Bollingers, their fucking cronies. See, that's the thing. The only things that were allowed at my court dates were slander. Slander. Every judge, every lawyer, every public pretender, every DA, and every officer went out of their way to prevent evidence of their own wrongdoing from coming forward, including Amanda Jonas. Amanda Jonas being the investigator in my case, where I was trying to report about the assaults against me by those officers. It is a conflict of interest for her to be the one assigned to my case. Who was it that assigned her to my case? This woman had already slandered my name. I didn't know it yet. She had already slandered my name, and she showed bias. She showed in her writing that Kara Johnson, aka Kara Miles, and Shelley, playing victim, was the reason that she decided, Amanda Jonas decided to take it upon herself to play judge, jury, and executioner instead of collecting evidence. I had to do that desperate shit because I couldn't get people to go in with me. Miss Peaches didn't have time. Mandy was on probation. And Katie Kate had only set aside an hour for it. After that, Katie Kate had a lot of other things that she had to do. It was difficult for her to make time. The threats against me were still happening. And people keep saying, if you just shut up. No, this is not something that you shut up about. Those officers refusing to take my report and getting zero consequences for it, even though it's illegal, shows that the officers can do whatever the fuck they want. The fact that they kept on making fun of me every time that they'd assault me or threaten me by telling me, oh, well, you get a lawyer when you get out, and then preventing me from getting out, preventing me from going to court dates. They conspired to prevent me from showing evidence of their own wrongdoing, and I am not going to apologize. I will not. A lot of people are like, you don't apologize for anything. No, I certainly do. If I do something wrong, I'll apologize for it. But I have to do something wrong to apologize for it. Now, don't I? I was punished for the sins of others. These people slandered my name and then claimed that I slandered theirs. These people assaulted me and claimed that I assaulted them. Basically, these terrible excuses for a human being tried to pretend like I was a terrible excuse for a human being, and the public came after me instead of after them. Their slander was specifically intended to create a mob mentality so that it would make it okay that they didn't do their jobs. They intentionally set people against me through slander, propaganda, threats, and intimidation. And you want me to shut up? You're out your goddamn mind. You shouldn't have cut me off from my loved ones, and you sure as shit shouldn't have threatened them. And that right there, that's the key point. All of this shit came from Alicia Bollinger telling Maddie Boa that I had threatened her family. I didn't. Meanwhile, people refused to listen to me, refused to take a look at the evidence. Absolutely. Absolutely, I'm pissed off. Meanwhile, I try to show the truth and they call it slander. They paraphrase and think it's okay. Officer Amanda Jonas even made fun of the fact that I live in fucking filth. I live in filth because of the victimization without an honest goddamn court date. Ken and Leah got away with what they did. Completely scot-fucking-free. Because Natalie was murdered by somebody else. And Ken and Leah play victim because I lit their truck on fire. I actually lit the road on fire, but who cares, right? Now, in my court paperwork, it said that Ken and Leah wanted to press charges. My public pretender said that they did not want to press charges, that it was the prosecutor who was pushing it. I'm kind of used to bullshit like that coming out of officers and public pretenders. My public pretender in Boulder claimed that the charges against me were dropped because the DA took a look at it and thought it was abhorrent the way that I had been treated. Whereas when I got a hold of their internal affairs, the internal affairs guy didn't take a look at shit. I told him about stuff that had been going on for days before that assault. And he tried to say that I was lying to him because I was telling him about things that started on the 1st. He said it wasn't on the 1st, it was on the 6th. Like, holy shit, you fucking moron. And then, even though my public pretender had said that the DA was the one that made the charges get dropped, this dude tried telling me it was Officer Vanderleest who said that she wanted the charges against me dropped. Well, with all due respect, I was assaulted by Officer Lolatai, and Officer Lolatai is the officer who claims that I assaulted him. This is an officer with a history of lying on court documents, on police reports, and in court. The case of Michelle Rodriguez proves this. Michelle Rodriguez is another one of his victims. You know what they did to me? They assaulted me, took me to a nuthatch, and injected me with drugs for trying to speak out against officers. What did they do to Michelle Rodriguez? They arrested her and assaulted her, took her to a hospital, and injected her with drugs for trying to speak out against police officers. She was trying to get a real police officer there. Imagine that. Where have you heard that before?